First game that we're going over is the Ravens at the Steelers. The Ravens are sitting pretty at 2-1. The Steelers are 1-1-1.
1-1-1.
1-1-1.
In the win column.
Yeah, in the win column. Squeezed past the Bucks.
Barely.
What was that, 30-27 last?
30-27.
And you could blame the Bucks for fucking that up. At the end of the game, the Bucks handed the ball off, and the Steelers chose not to call a timeout. So the play would obviously be run the ball again. Bucks 2 passes, 2 incompletes, end up kicking a field goal, and then the Steelers come back and score the points that they needed to win. So little nuance of the game there that really turned the tide. Just play calling, and the Steelers just outclassed them in terms of just like thinking about the game. They dared them like, yo, run the ball again, and they couldn't.
All right. So who do you have in this game though? Ravens or Steelers?
So the Ravens and Steelers are always going to play each other hard.
Yeah.
This game is always in the trenches, a battle. These teams fucking hate each other. One thing that I think is something that's coming to light as the year progresses is that this Ravens offense is not the same offense that it had once upon a time. This is a very good offense. Their weapons on the outside. John Brown has been fantastic. Michael Crabtree is still a guy who can go up and make a contested catch. Willie Snead out of the slot has been really good. Buck Allen out of the backfield has been a really major key for their success.
I like that combo. It's like the bruiser Alex Collins will get in there, and then you could, the lightning of, like you said, Buck Allen. I like that combo. I think it gives Steelers trouble.
Yeah, and a couple years ago, everyone loved Danny Woodhead in fantasy because the Ravens throw their backs so much. Fast forward a year later, Buck Allen is being that guy. So he's really on the defense. They're going to miss Jimmy Smith, especially against the wide receiver core like the Steelers. The Steelers, on the other hand, Big Ben's having a good year, but there's something about this team that just seems to be missing. I can't put my finger on it because their offense is still explosive, but it's just something they're missing. It could be Le'Veon. I mean, that's a big thing. So I don't know how this game will turn out. I know it'll be a close one. I think if the Ravens end up pulling this one out, all of a sudden a lot of people looking at the Ravens differently. So I think this is a statement win for the Ravens if they can win.
I think what the Steelers are missing is the ability to cover wide receivers because that defense is really, really bad. Fitzpatrick was able to do whatever he wanted. I mean, sure, he threw some interceptions, but one of them got tipped also. I don't know. I don't like this defense for the Steelers. The defensive line is good. I really like, and I was always a fan of Vance McDonald. Last year when they traded for him from the San Francisco 49ers, he caught like 10 passes in that game against the Jaguars. And the only issue with him is that he's never healthy. And if you can have a guy like that could be your an athletic tight end for Big Ben, I think that changes the dynamic of that offense because now Juju's like top 5 in scrimmage yards in the NFL. And he's balling out. AB hasn't really had a monster game yet, and he's been a Raven killer, especially the times that Jimmy Smith hasn't played. And then, I really like this kid, James Washington. I was a fan of his. Boss, you remember him at Oklahoma State, right, with Mason Rudolph?
Yeah. It was last year.
He was like yeah, but he really came onto the scene 2 years ago though with his freshman year, and he's like that prototype Big 12 wide receiver that just puts up video game numbers, and they're starting to get him more involved also. I like the Steelers in this game at home on primetime. This is the Sunday Night Football game.
Yeah, I like the Ravens here. What they showed me against Tampa was very little. I know Fitzpatrick made some horrible decisions. He gave them a pick 6, which ultimately decided the game on the scoreboard.
Just handed it to him. Too.
Yeah, right before half, it was just some terrible mistakes by Fitz. They really haven't shown me much, Pittsburgh, through 3 weeks. Big Ben is missing AB on some big throws down the sideline. Something's off there with that connection, which is usually money. James Conner, I know he has those all-purpose yards because I see our buddy Danny always tweeting about that he doesn't miss Le'Veon Bell because James Conner is filling in just fine. But James Conner on the ground the last 2 weeks, meh. What has he done besides seal the game? He did seal the game. I will give him that. He had some big carries. The last drive for them, he had 2 10-yard pickups, which was obviously huge at the time. But other than that, kind of been non-existent in the running game. I know they were playing from behind against the Chiefs, but last week was a perfect chance to get him involved again. And we didn't see it. So I don't know. I don't really see much. Juju is, I think, the focal point of this offense, as we've seen through 3 weeks. And I think Baltimore, like Tim says, the weapons now on the outside, they can mix it up. They implement everyone from John Brown to Willie Snead to Crabtree. Everyone's involved. The 2 running backs. I think it's going to be a long day for the Steelers, and I think the Ravens win this game.
All right.
I mean, just another thing. John Connor, worst haircut in football. Like, horrible
James
haircut.
Conner.
James Conner.
John Connor
What'd
was
I
his
say?
Terminator.
John Connor, our former fullback.
Our former fullback. The guy who
Yes.
Rex Ryan just was so happy about drafting a fullback in the fucking 4th round for some reason.
The
Whatever.
Terminator.
Gotta love it. He wasn't bad.
I mean, but he was a fullback in the 4th round.
Yeah.
This is definitely going to be a hardcore match. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Nick, this is shout out to you. This is going to be no holds barred, no disqualification.
Backstage brawl
match. With, like,
Buried alive.
First person thrown off the Titantron wins. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few injuries coming out of this game. This game is always fought hard.
Yeah.
Hard.
I feel like our whole lives, it's always been like Ravens and Steelers. Like when they play each other, it's just like, because it used to be like the Steelers offense versus, I mean, the Steelers defense actually is historically good also.
Yeah.
But the Ravens defense when we were growing up was like incredible too. So it was always like a hard fought battle.
It's interesting to
And
see because. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
No, they're going to get the Ravens defense is probably going to get C.J. Mosley back this week, and I feel like he's a very slept on linebacker, and he has similar splits to Sean Lee and Luke Kuechly when he's not in there.
Yeah.
And you saw the Ravens struggle, and they're getting Jimmy Smith back next week, so that's 2 big. C.J. Mosley and Jimmy Smith are maybe 2 of their top 3 defenders in general. Terrell, if you're not counting Terrell Suggs, so if you those are big additions to a defense that's already kind of played good.